another week's episode of Knockout Bets podcast brought to you by Recliner Sports Report. I'm Mac, and with me, as always, is Andrew. Andrew, how are we doing today, my dude?
What's up, everybody? I'm gonna battle through it. I'm absolutely exhausted today, if I'm being honest. Like, everybody always comes onto the show and they're like, "I'm so excited, I'm ready to go," and those things are true. I'm excited to talk about these fights. I'm dragging a little bit today, but I'm happy to be here and happy to be talking about the fights with you.
Yeah, it sometimes, dude, it is a grind. And because again, we
Just
work
life in general. I
we
mean,
work
this.
full-time jobs outside of this. I know it may seem like all I do is golf and gamble, but I do work full-time jobs outside of this, and yeah, it is a grind, but it's a fun grind. I think that's the one thing. Is
Totally.
it's something that I think when Andrew and I started this, it was like, all right, we're gonna like, really, it was mostly Gary V, right? Like, find a 9 to 5 that you don't hate, and then work on your brand. And there's 24 hours in a day. I only work 8 of them, so there's plenty of time to do what we want to do. And I'm happy. I'm so in love with building what we're building. But yeah, like everything, it gets to be a grind sometimes.
Yep. Life adds up at times, but
For sure, man.
yeah.
So, speaking about life adding up, I tell you what, Andrew, last week's card, um, it was amazing. And there were a lot of fights on there that were good, but um, I think the biggest takeaway that I had that I want to talk about that I really love was Paddy the Baddy in his post-fight speech, about mental health, and awareness,
Absolutely.
talking. And I think that's
And especially men doing that, because
yeah,
there's stereotypes out there of, men don't talk about their feelings. And hopefully the world and people like Paddy using a platform to bring that up and make it a topic of conversation is gonna start to move in a better way than it has been. I mean, we're not living in the 1950s anymore. It's okay for men to talk about their feelings, and it's a healthy thing to do. I'm grateful to have you as a friend, and we talk like that. I'm grateful to have a couple other friends that I'm able to talk with like that. And it's a beautiful thing, and it's good for your mental health.
Yeah, and I think, again, it also really falls in line with what we're trying to do with using our platform to help others. So I love that stuff. That's the stuff I love, when athletes can do that stuff. Paddy, super sorry about your friend, but I'm glad you use this platform to spread awareness and help, because it is a problem. And we're here to help too. So if you ever need anything, reach out to us. We're here to help. We want to be able to help spread that awareness. And thank you, Paddy, for bringing that up. But also, great fight, buddy. Wow, way to just like completely dominate.
Hey, gotta talk about that.
Completely.
I mean, that position he had him in, where he's got his arm trapped against his body. That's it was a matter of time by that.
Yeah, and
position.
again, I think Paddy even admitted it. He definitely was shaking off his game plan at the beginning, but Jordan really wasn't doing anything, right? And Paddy was throwing submissions.
He had cage control, and Paddy was stuffing the takedown over and over again.
But Paddy was actually active off the back of the cage, throwing submissions. And then it was for him getting on top and really finishing that round strong. I think some were arguing that Levitt had won the first round. I would argue that
was a close round. I would give it to Paddy. I think.
Yeah,
I
would argue. I would argue Paddy was more active. He threw more submissions, and he ended the round better. But I tell you what, he came alive in the second. And I know it wasn't the first round knockout finish he wanted, but second round dominant submission against someone who the whole week everyone was saying his grappling skills and his wrestling skills were better.
He's a good grappler.
For him to come out and do that and submit him, people better start putting some respect on Paddy's name. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I mean, he was supposed to win that fight. He was a -250 favorite. He came through. Like I said on the show last week with the prediction, I think that the UFC set him up against a 10-1 fighter. He's better than both of the guys he had fought in the UFC so far, but the UFC set him up to win. And I had a big bet on him. I had him in a parlay. I'm glad he came through. It was a super exciting fight.
Yes.
Um, and yeah, I mean, I unfortunately missed a lot of the undercard this past week, family obligations and this and that. But Molly and Patty both. I mean, they put on a show in front of the hometown crowd there. I mean,
Yeah.
Molly getting the first round knockout. It's a fun ride that they're both on kind of together. They've been on the same card the last couple, and I hope we just keep getting to ride it a little further.
They are the funnest duo to watch right now. I love it. I love their relationship. I love their family-like values. I just love everything about that duo. I can't wait to see what's in store for both of them next.
Yeah. So there's a couple other things that I want to bring up from last week's card. Alexander Gustafsson, man.
R.I.P.
To see him get done like that was just sad. One of the better fighters in my estimation ever in the UFC to never win a title. Took John Jones to deep waters, had an incredible career. Retired once. He, we'll see if he even comes back and fights again after that. But man, was I rooting for him, and I had a nice fat plus money bet on him, and we didn't even really get to see, skill for skill who was better in that fight. It was one of those early knockouts that happen sometimes, and just sad to see it happen to a guy I was hoping was gonna come back and maybe have like one last run, and 205 is so weak now, so maybe he's got a shot to work his way up to the top in a couple fights. Just sad for him to see that happen that way. And then the other two that I just want to bring up quickly, obviously, there's not much to talk about in the main event. It's sad that it ended the way that it did. Hope Aspinall recovers and comes back strong as ever. I'm interested to hear your thoughts on Chris Curtis's reaction after his fight.
Baby. Dude got beat. Like, I don't know why you're going to sit and pout and say, like, why didn't you do it? Like, dude, Curtis, I had you. I thought you were the better fighter. He just outstruck you, man. You didn't do anything. You didn't try to improve your position at all. You didn't try to get in dirty and box. You just let him kick you back and keep you at range. And he's a lot longer guy, and he fought a better fight. And then, wait, you get mad at him for it? Like,
right.
come on, man.
Hermansson obviously came in with a good game plan, executed it really, really well. And to say, oh, you're running, you're not going to stand in the pocket and trade with me. Of course you're not. That's Chris Curtis's game, and any fighter that comes in with a smart game plan against him, I mean, I'll walk that back a little bit. Not any fighter, but most fighters who aren't as good as him in the pocket are not going to stand in the pocket and trade with him. I'm actually a little surprised that Hermansson didn't take him down more or go harder after the takedowns, but he didn't need to because he used his range and his movement effectively and won all 3 rounds, I thought. And I completely agree. I thought, there's frustration, heat of the moment, this thing, that thing, the other thing. I'm not here really to criticize anybody, but it's not a good look for the UFC, when you're reacting like that after a fight. That's the type of shit that people who are casual UFC fans look at and they go, oh, the UFC is stupid because of this, because of that, because of there are these bad examples that turn into stereotypes for people who really don't follow the sport closely, and that's that type of thing for me, and so that's why I don't like it.
Yeah, wasn't a fan either. Well, any other thoughts on this past weekend's card?
I mean, I think we talked about most of the main card, and I missed most of the undercard. I mean,
pretty boring.
Paul Craig laying on his back a lot. That wasn't very interesting to watch.
Disappointing.
It's fun when Paul Craig gets beat up and then catches the sub, but
it wasn't anything to write home about. A lot of distance fights. It was it wasn't very like it wasn't super like exciting. Good fights, just wasn't super
Right.
electric.
Molly and Patty brought the crowd to life,
Oh,
is what it seemed like for me. And after Patty's win, it was like, all right, we still have 2 fights left,
right.
but like that was the people's main event right there.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's what everyone was there for. You could tell by the wigs. Well, that brings us to where I'm hoping, and it's got the right formula to be one, but an amazing UFC 277 Pena versus Nunes too. I still remember sitting on your porch right before their last fight with that last leg of the parlay, and all I had to do was cover up and just throw a bet at plus 700 Pena, and I didn't. And
And
I
I
still remember
kept
that.
saying all day during that, I kept saying, this is the girl that has a chance to beat her. This is the girl she shouldn't be minus 1,000 against. This
No.
is, you know, I, I did everything but bet it. And that's one of my biggest regrets of something that I didn't bet ever.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
But here we are again. I still feel like the same person should win. But before that, we have a couple other fights we want to get to. The first fight we want to talk about is Derek Lewis, who is 26-9, fighting against Sergey Pavlovich, who is 15-1. Derek Lewis, can he get it done in Texas? Finally, can he do it? I believe
Well,
so. What about you?
he's got a really good record in Texas. He's just lost his last 2 in Texas, I think, maybe at least his most recent one. Um, Derek Lewis has the most knockouts in UFC history. Dude comes to throw hands. We know what he's about. He's got better takedown defense than people talk about a lot of the time. He's really good with moving his hips like that. That's not going to factor into this fight, but I think it's worth mentioning when you talk about Derek Lewis is, he's not just a striker that if you're a Curtis Blades, I mean, we saw what he did to Curtis Blades. He fought Curtis Blades and he caught Curtis Blades coming in for the double leg with an uppercut and fight over. Pavlovich has an 84-inch reach. He has a similar fighting style to Lewis, where he comes to throw hands and he comes to throw hard and he comes to knock you out. Pavlovich definitely has more volume than Derek Lewis does. Derek Lewis is just constantly hunting for that one night shot, where Pavlovich will definitely throw several more strikes per minute than Lewis will in this fight. Like if we're going the distance and we're getting to a decision, I would be pretty surprised if Pavlovich doesn't win a decision if it goes there. What's interesting to me, the fight doesn't go the distance props. They're insane on this one. They're like minus 650. I haven't looked for fight ends by KO because I think both guys have the chance of knocking each other out. Fight ends by KO is minus 450 in this one. Like you just don't see a number like that. And Pavlovich has an 84-inch reach, so he's going to have a 5-inch reach advantage in this fight. Doesn't really matter for Derek Lewis. He's so good about getting into the pocket when he finds his opportunity and just busting heads. Pavlovich has good sting on the end of his punches. He has good speed with his hands. He may have a little bit of a speed advantage on Lewis, but nobody this side of Francis Ngannou has a power advantage on Derek Lewis. The biggest difference maker to me in this fight is if you look at Pavlovich's UFC career so far, who he's beaten has not been extremely impressive, and this is a huge step up in competition to be getting in there with Derek Lewis, who's fought the best of the best for several years now. I'm just pulling this up here. So Pavlovich, he lost in his UFC debut to Alistair Overeem. No shame in that game to lose to Overeem. And then he beats Marcelo Gome, who's no longer in the UFC. Did just have a decent win in Bellator recently, but not the most impressive fighter ever. Beat Maurice Green, the crochet boss, who is an interesting character, but not a very good fighter. at least at the UFC level, and beat Shamil, whose name I'm not going to even attempt to butcher, who was a very quality fighter at one point in time, but is a shell of his former self at this point in his career. So because this is such a step up for Pavlovich, he's going to prove something if he wins this fight. He's going to prove that he belongs as a ranked fighter in the UFC and in the top 10 and knocking on the door of getting some pretty exciting fights if he can beat Derek Lewis. But I got Derek Lewis at plus money. I think the smart bet to me is Derek Lewis by knockout in this fight. I think that's pretty much his. If it goes to decision, but yeah, it's Derek Lewis. It's the experience. It's the power. It's Derek Lewis by knockout for me.
I'm all on it with you, man. I love, me. I love the Black Beast. I never want to be on the other side of him. I think his last fight with Tui, it just was someone was getting knocked out. Just happened to be Derek. But I think Sergey is not tied to Ivasa. I think he's a great fighter, but I think Derek Lewis is going to bring the hammer fists, and he's going to get himself a KO win. So I'm on the same side as you as this one. I just want to see Derek get it done in front of the Texas crowd.
I love it.
All right, next fight of the night, we have Brandon Moreno, 19-6-2 versus Kai Kara-France, coming in 24-9. What's your first thoughts on this one, bud?
Yeah, so this fight already happened 2.5 years ago. This is actually a rematch, and this one is obviously for the interim title and the right to face Deiveson Figueiredo when he comes back. Moreno won that fight back in 2019. It was a very, very close fight. Both guys have been on really great runs since then. We've seen Kai Kara-France with some of the best power in the hands of a 135er that
electric.
Certainly in a long time, if not ever. Guy hits hard for a 135er. His boxing is extremely good, crisp, clean, kicks are solid. Like I said, he hits hard. He's got good volume. His really good takedown defense, too, which I think is going to be somewhat of a factor in this fight. I think Moreno's most likely going to come and wrestle a bit more in this fight than he did in their first matchup back in 2019. But Kai Kara-France scrambles well, too. He doesn't get held down easily. Moreno's definitely got the advantage on the ground, but Kai's no fish out of water there, that's for sure. Moreno, what's not to love about Brandon Moreno? Like, he just wears his heart on his sleeve. Anybody that gets into a UFC cage and fights another human being is obviously doing something brave and this and that. But I just love Moreno's attitude and how he's so positive and excited and just puts that out there into the world in such an awesome way. And his fight style is awesome too. Like, he just goes incredibly hard. Like, I'm really rooting for, and I'll give it away, I'll finish talking about the breakdown in a second. I'm going to be betting him, and I'm really rooting for him to win because I want to see him and Deiveson Figueiredo fight the fourth time. And then, they can turn that into a 7-fight series for all I'm concerned. But like I said, I think Moreno will have the grappling advantage. Moreno goes incredibly hard, wears his heart on his sleeve, gets a couple of takedowns a fight on average, strikes incredibly well. He actually outstruck Kai Kara-France in their last fight, which many people did not see, including myself, that playing out that way going into it. Definitely thought there was going to be a lot more of Moreno going for takedowns, and I think we will see that this time, but that's also what I thought last time, so could be wrong on that. Moreno's just so well-rounded. His cardio is incredible. The pace that he pushes is incredible. And Kai Kara-France has a really good pace too, but Moreno's pace that he fights at is just like above and beyond almost anybody that you can name. He's good at range. He's just the all-around better guy for me. Other than a knockout, I don't really see how Kai Kara-France wins this fight. This is also a 5-round fight because it's an interim title fight. We've seen Moreno go 5 rounds and have good cardio later in the fights. We haven't ever seen Kai Kara-France go 5 rounds. I'm not really, especially like these 135ers that just seem like they can go forever. I'm not really questioning his gas tank. But we have never seen him fight 5 rounds before, so that's got to be at least a thought in the back of your mind. So I'm going Moreno. I feel pretty solid with it. I haven't actually bet it yet. I need to get on it soon because I know the line's probably just going to get wider as we get closer to fight day. I'm going to figure out how I want to go about it. I'll probably parlay his money line. I don't think I want to call an inside the distance or any particular kind of finish. So probably go with Moreno money line and parlay that with something else. And I actually have an idea for the next fight.
Yeah,
gives away the next pick, but.
As a fan, I want Brandon Moreno to win. As UFC fan and understanding the fight game, Kai Kara-France is a scary dude. And he has super, super strong hands, and he's super quick, and he's super fast. Moreno is tough, though. I want him to win. I like his story. I like where he's from. But I also, again, I think this is just 2 good fighters here, and they're going to go put on a show. At least that's what this has every bit anticipation to be. I see this thing, the over is looking pretty nice. I think going the distance is definitely, both these guys are tough.
I don't hate that.
But
what number is that at going the distance?
I am not 100% sure on that one yet.
Okay.
But yeah,
that's at a nice fat plus money number. That might not be.
I would doubt if it is, knowing how tough these 2 guys are.
Right. They both have finishing ability. That's for sure. Both on the feet and definitely Moreno on the ground too. Well, I'm seeing over 4.5 here at plus 132 is the best number that I see at the moment. I'm not finding it quick enough, but if over 4.5 is plus 132, I mean, you just add a tiny bit to that, and you get your fight goes the distance at
you bet that
or something.
You bet that, and you just hope you see a great fight for 5 full rounds.
Yeah, I wouldn't even bet that. Both these guys have finishing ability to me. I don't think I'd do it at plus 150. I think I'd need a higher number for that to make sense.
But yeah, I'm rooting for Moreno here. I think he's going to get it done. But do not sleep on Kai Kara-France. The dude brings the hammer fists. All right, that brings us to our last fight of the night. The rematch we never knew we were going to get. We got Juliana Pena versus Amanda Nunes.
Not going into the first one, that's for sure.
No, not at all. I never thought going to that first one that we'd be doing this again. At least they got the lines a little bit better here. But yeah, Nunes, we already know who she is. Pena, we know who she is. But Andrew, tell us, who do you think is going to win this one?
Man, I think Amanda Nunes is the right side. I think this is probably maybe the only time that we get her at a number like this where she's under minus 300, and deservedly so. I mean, she lost the last fight. Yeah. She gassed in the second round. I mean, Pena survived the first round. Amanda clearly won the first round convincingly, but Pena survived. Amanda gassed herself out going for the finish, and Pena took advantage of that and finished the fight, obviously, there in the second round. The thing that makes me nervous about betting Amanda, I think she's the better all-around fighter. I mean, you just list off like somebody I saw recently was talking about like who's the Mount Rushmore of women's MMA fighters, and it's obviously Amanda Nunes, and then it's like Cyborg and Ronda Rousey, and pick one more, and she's beaten Ronda Rousey, she's beaten Cyborg. This is the clear greatest women's fighter of all time. The only question is like, where is she at mentally? Is she still committed to the game to be the best, to be the greatest right now? And is it a case of she lost the last fight because she took Pena too lightly? Or, there's always rumors like this that come out when something like this happens, but did she really fight with an injury and just thought that she was going to steamroll Pena anyway? And then, now we're going to get her on a serious, hardcore, focused training camp, and that maybe wasn't the case the last time. And that's, to me, what I think is the most likely scenario. I'm thinking of, I haven't done it yet, and I should probably do it ASAP, possibly parlaying Nunes with Brandon Moreno. I think, you put those two chalky favorites together. I like them enough that I think that's a solid bet, putting those two together.
I like that.
I mean, and Amanda, we all know her. She hits incredibly hard. Her jiu-jitsu is outstanding. Her boxing is amazing. I mean, what she did to Cyborg, knocking her out in the first round, mind-blowing. I mean, if going into that you said one of them was going to starch the other like that, you would have predicted that it would have been the other way around and that she was going to get starched by Cyborg. Pena's got a really solid jab. Her forte is her wrestling. She's got a great gas tank, great jiu-jitsu. I just think that we're going to see a different lioness in the cage on Saturday. I think we're going to see focused, healthy. I think we're going to see a better gas tank. I think we're going to see more calculated to not gas herself out in the second round. And I think we're going to see, whether it goes all 5 rounds or whether a finish happens at some point, I think we're going to see Amanda win pretty convincingly. That's where I'm at with it.
Yeah, let's go Nunes, baby. I think Pena showed that she's a really great fighter. I think Pena showed that she's not one you can just walk right through and forget about. But I think if I'm just trying to put myself in Nunes' shoes, I think that she's taking that as, listen, I messed up and I ain't doing that again. So I don't know what I have to do, but I'm going to make sure I do everything that I can do to not leave any cards unturned in my training. I don't think she's one to slack off this one. I think she knows that she doesn't want to go out like this, and she's going to get it done. Again, we are talking about a dangerous, dangerous woman who was at the top and still is at the top. And I think she's going to get done. And I love that Moreno Nunes bet. I will be tailing that as well. But I see this going Nunes all day.
I love it. I love that we're on the same side, because I think this one is controversial, especially, when you have a defending champion where her line right now is at like plus 230, and not just a defending champion in a rematch where these two just fought. It's interesting to see just in that context where the line is at, but I'm glad we agree on the pick and the bet. I like it when we rack together.
For sure. All right. Now to our knockout bets and lottery picks. My knockout bet of the week, I'm going Nunes, man. I think Nunes is going to seal the deal with a.
I love finish. That. See, I thought you were going to go with the one that I'm going to go with, because it seems like, either he's going to get a knockout or he's going to get knocked out. But I think he's got the better shot to be the one delivering it. So I'm gonna rock with Derek Lewis by knockout.
I love that one too. Now, I've been doing some time in the lab on this one, and I have come together with a fat daddy.
I bet. Can I guess what one of the bets is in it? Because I think I'm gonna have it too.
Yes.
Do you have Anthony Smith?
You're dang right I do. You're dang right I got line.
That line is disrespectful. Like,
Oh,
should Ankalaev be the favorite?
yeah.
Yes. Is that line absolutely insanely whacked out? Also, yes. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
I might put a little bet on that. There's plus 410 on Anthony Smith. That's crazy.
Yeah. Anthony Smith will be
Um,
getting my love this weekend because I love him.
yeah.
But he's in
We
this.
are not going to see a repeat of Ankalaev's fight against Thiago Santos when he fights Anthony Smith. It's not going to be this boring pity patter dancing around
No,
each other. Anthony
no.
Smith's going to bring the fight,
Yeah.
and
It's gonna be
we're
awesome.
gonna we're gonna find out what Ankalaev is made of.
But so yes, he is in that one, which helps drive this thing up. But this is a plus 3,000 parlay,
Love
four
it.
teamer. We're going with Blood Diamond, Anthony
Okay.
Smith, Derek Lewis, and Brandon Moreno. So
I like it. Did you get
I'm
Lewis at plus money too?
I got Lewis at minus 110.
Okay.
So
Okay.
so but
He's at plus money now, but
yep,
obviously you put that bet in probably a day or two ago.
2 days ago. I put it out on
Yeah.
Monday when the first lines got released, and I always like to do just my first run at one.
Yep.
And I tell you what, I love every second of it. So ride it, fade it, whatever you want. But if you do, keep the change on that one because I love everything about these fighters on this bet, and I love the odds that I'm getting it at. What's your lottery ticket?
I love it. So I come unprepared for this every time, but I'll just shout out a couple of underdogs that I'm definitely looking at and liking. Ji Young Kim, I think she should be the favorite in that fight, not the underdog. She's plus 110, so it's not a huge underdog. That's pretty close to a pick 'em, but that plus 110 odds, if you're throwing it into like a 4 or 5 fighter underdog type parlay, is gonna bump you up and help out with it for sure. Um, I already mentioned Anthony Smith. I already mentioned Derek Lewis. I don't think you bet Derek Lewis's money line. It's it's one of these where the buy knockout is so small an amount bigger than the money line, but it's the way to go because is Derek Lewis going to submit him? No, he's not. Is he going to win by decision? It's possible, but I think pretty unlikely. So I think you throw Derek Lewis in there by knockout, which you can get around plus 160 right now. What else do I got here? Yeah, I'd say maybe throw those three together. Let's go Lewis by knockout, Anthony Smith money line, and Ji Yeon Kim money line. Smash those three together, whatever number that gives you. That's probably going to give you a number up over plus 1,000.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, we hope you all have best of luck in all of your bets this weekend. But I'm feeling confident in our lottery picks this weekend. Those are 2 locks right there. Just slam it. I'm telling you, slam it. You're gonna be
I don't
thankful
know
for
if
it
it's a
when you
lock. I think we're buying a lottery ticket on Anthony Smith. I think the line is disrespectful and it's out of whack, but he should be the underdog.
Anthony Smith is
But
going to do what he
plus
does all
plus
the time.
410 is insane. Like I think he should be. If I was lining this fight, way closer. I'd put Anthony Smith around maybe like plus 200, and you can get
Anthony
him over
Smith.
plus 400.
Anthony Smith is
Um,
going to do what he does every single time. Prove the haters wrong. He is going to get it done. I can feel it. I'm feeling so confident, Anthony Smith.
I love it. I love it. I'm gonna be riding it. I'm gonna have it in my lottery ticket, and I'm gonna have it. I'm just gonna bet it because I think the number's wrong.
Oh, 100%. Oh, 100%. I mean, yeah, you can't
And
not.
I'm gonna wait. I'm probably gonna wait till Saturday morning to bet it because if I'm looking at, I mean, we're recording Wednesday night. If I'm looking at plus 410 now, everybody, that likes to throw these multiple fighter parlays with big favorites together. Everybody's gonna throw Ankalaev in their stuff, and we might even get an even crazier number by like Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon before the card.
All right. Um, Thank you, everyone, again for watching. We appreciate all the love and support. Keep an eye out for more of our podcasts, and go ahead and give us a follow on our Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, and most importantly, where it all started, our Twitter account. Um, Thank you again, everyone, for watching. And as always, keep the change.
We appreciate you. Talk about men's mental health and keep the change.